I wonder if a stormtrooper were to shoot at a red shirt in Star Trek, if the red shirt would still die. I don't know. That'll hook them. That'll bring people in.
Perfect. Pew, pew, pew.
Welcome to episode 6 of In Deep with Dan. I'm glad you stopped by. Plant your flag by subscribing to the show if you've not done so already. I'll be ready and waiting for you in your phone, your car, your tablet, every Monday morning. Are you and I driving right now? Eyes on the road, lady. Stop fiddling with the phone, dude. Concentrate. Use the SEE acronym, C, that they taught me at motorcycle driving school. Search, evaluate, execute. Scan ahead at least 12 car lengths. Are there any potential threats? What's your plan? Are you at least 2 car lengths behind the car in front of you? Back off. That extra quarter second it'll take to get to the next mile marker is not worth the loss of reaction time for riding that guy's ass, Sparky. Okay, pontificating done. Before we get to the conversation, I was sick all this past week. Enlarged tonsils, fever, home from work 2 days. It really makes one appreciate being healthy, which I am most of the time. So make sure to wash your hands. But in the end, there's really nothing you can do. If the bugs want you, they will find you and they will get you. About all I was able to do was watch a few of my CW season premieres. I checked out the premiere of Arrow and The Flash, but I ran out of time and didn't have time to watch Black Lightning. There's just too many good shows on. I watched another episode this week of Ozark with my wife. Awesome, awesome show. Please remember to rate and review the show via your podcast app. Enough said about that. All right. Did I mention who I have on the show this week? I don't think I did. It's Katie Weso, a national board-certified therapeutic massage therapist, pet owner, self-described non-tech-savvy person, and all in all, a good egg. Katie and I talk about massage, and yes, happy endings are broached, and dogs and cats and technology and laser beams. It was a good talk. This chat was a long time coming. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned I tried to connect with someone for an interview, and first their tech failed, and then my tech failed, and then the entire night was a failure, talk-wise. That was Katie. Not the failure, but the failed connection. And she was a very good sport to reschedule it, and I do appreciate it. All right. So without any further of my ado, let's get to it. Christy suggested I should talk to you. You sent me a bunch of really fun topics. I think you said at the time your passion topics are drinking, dogs, massage, and what really got me, of course, is the rage that bubbles up when people bring up happy endings.
Yeah. A lot of rage.
Yeah. And of course, that would have been my opener because, of course, that's the first thing I thought of. But I wasn't going to go,
like
dirty.
Straight for the rage topic?
No. But, it might be good to, I don't know, do you want to quell the rage or excite the rage right now, or do you want to leave that until later?
Well, I mean, we can't just leave that one hanging. We have to talk about it.
Yeah, I think we should do that. So I don't want to call it a fantasy because that sounds terrible, but my imagination presumes the usual scenario is some, perhaps, let's say, person of his advanced years comes up to you to discuss getting a massage, and then he brings up the term happy ending as either a joke or perhaps a menu item question.
So I have never had somebody be so overt, like a client or a potential client be so overt about it. in any way, shape, or form. It usually
Good.
comes up as a joke, like a new friend or somebody you haven't seen in a while finds out what you do, and it immediately becomes a joke about happy endings.
Right.
It's so frustrating, so much to the point where like every time I'm trying to put together a meme for my business page, I have to like think about it like from every angle, including who's going to see this. Are they going to think it's sexual?
Yeah.
Everything. Oh man, I can't remember that South Korean artist that had that song that everybody sang a few years ago. And I created a meme with that guy, like
Gangnam
walking
Style.
out at the. Yes, thank you. Like him towards the end of the video where it's like all like confetti all around him walking out of the factory.
Oh, sure.
And I think my caption at the top was like, I want you to feel this good when you leave your massage. And as soon as I posted it, I was like, fuck, people are going to read that the wrong way.
Yeah, and that's more I think Psy is that guy's name, as I recall. But
thank you.
Yeah, there are a couple of bad. I mean, if people were to stop and think about it, they would know. Okay, this kind of thing doesn't come up when someone is talking about going to the chiropractor, and it certainly doesn't come up when people are talking about going to the podiatrist or the dentist or whatever. But two things societally happen to make this bad. One, the fine old art and business of prostitution had hidden under the banner of massages for years.
True, which is why the states are all now regulated. Actually, I think there's a few states that are still unregulated, but for massage therapy, most of our regulations, if you felt like reading some legislature, most of our statutes and all of the rules have to do with like keeping sex separate from massage. Like it's not, you can't give your client stretches or like you can't do this style of deep tissue without this certification. None of our rules, none of our laws pertaining to massage have anything to do with that. It's practice within your scope and don't do anything sexual.
And that seems very slanted, unfortunately, but I guess that's what it is. So, and the other thing, of course, is the introduction of the term happy ending, which I don't know, did that come from, it seems to me like that came from a movie in the 90s or something?
No, I actually have no idea where the term comes from, and I don't want to Google it.
Yeah. I really do want to Google it, but I think I'll wait until my wife is asleep before I do that. So, and maybe I'll do more than Google it. There's probably another place to find this stuff out. But anyway, yeah, I remember hearing it the first time. I just don't remember the context. I think it was in a movie, probably some kind of a,
probably
college movie.
Jim Gaffigan has a really, really hilarious bit about massage therapy. I mean, it's not very nice to massage therapists, but it's still a really funny bit because he talks about like paying money to have like a stranger rub your back or like to get naked and like have a stranger rub your back. And he talks about happy endings in his little bit too. He says there's no other profession that has that kind of connotation. Like you don't go to your dentist and then your friend's like, oh, did you get your cavity filled or did you get your cavity filled?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So it's frustrating. So that's all the surface stuff of why it's frustrating. The meat of why it's frustrating is that's real. Those places are real. I think it was 2 years ago there was a place shut down in Waukesha. It was on Sunset in Waukesha that was raided and shut down. And to everybody, it's a big joke. But those girls that end up at those places, a lot of times they are foreign and have no papers.
Yeah,
they're underage. They are girls that are victims of human trafficking.
Sure.
It's a bad situation. It's not some pretty girl that's, the right age and wants to be doing that for a living. Like, so the pervs that go to those places, like they're just, I don't care if they're a church deacon, they're a shitty human being.
Yeah. Well, no doubt they're supporting the whole cycle.
So it's frustrating. That's why I said, the rage bubbles up. Like anytime, like when one of Matt's friends meets me and, they find out that his wife's a massage therapist and they're like, oh yeah. It's like, no, like fuck off. Like I spend most of my time with my elbow in somebody's armpit trying to get under their shoulder blade.
All of the things that come to mind to say, I just won't, because that last bit about the, human trafficking kind of subdued any possible quip I could have about the whole elbow in the armpit and, menu option number 2 and anything like that. Oh, I just kind of said it, but I won't anymore because I get that. So now it's cool. I read on your Facebook page, your passion due to your families, your mom, dad, and I think it was your stepmom all had different issues that caused them pain, and that's what kind of got you into this?
That is correct.
That is cool.
My dad got diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, a condition where joints start to fuse. You end up with some extra bone tissue and bone spurs, and things just kind of fuse. So if you think about when you stand up and you're bending side to side, like to the left and the right, and you're using your lower back or the lumbar spine to make that movement happen, he has no movement in that direction because everything is all fused. And it happens over time. So you can guess, he's been in a lot of pain for a long time. Right around the same time, my stepmom had her second failed surgery for plantar fasciitis, which is through the arch of the foot. You get a lot of pain and a lot of issues.
Oh, yeah.
And then my mom had an issue with the tendon in her wrist. So it was like bam, 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 like all three of them were just falling apart. And it was right around the time I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know that massage therapy was even a thing. I didn't grow up in a family that my parents went and got worked on. So I had no idea it was a thing. And when I found out, I was like, wait, I can do that? People do that?
Yeah,
I don't have to give happy endings, do I? I don't want to do that.
Right. It's cool that you didn't know about the profession, but you did know about the happy ending. And I think that's the way it should be. It just shows about the unfortunate, the level of publicity that is afforded to this,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually also have chronic back pain. I got in a car accident in 2007. I got rear-ended going, I was at a stoplight and somebody hit me in the ass at about 60 miles an hour with their iPod. They were playing with their iPod back then. And of course, I went to, I think, one PT session and I said, nah, I'm good. And then it's just progressively gotten worse over the years. So I've never gone in. What had happened was, and of course, this is all about making it about me, Katie, instead of you. So I'm putting it off on me, but
I mean, it is In Deep with Dan. So
That's true. In deep massage with Dan. A little parenthetical phrase I could throw in there. It would screw up my artwork, so I'll have to think about if I'm going to do that. But
yeah, you can't drink and massage. That's a no-no.
Ooh, is
that
like
one
of the
doctor
rules?
Drinking before surgery? That'd be bad.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but I had locked up. I had looked in the mirror just as the guy was coming at me. So I threw the car into park and hit the brake because I didn't want to be thrown forward into the woman in front of me. And at that moment was the impact. So yeah, my right arm, anything I had tensed, which was my right arm, my right leg, all just got effed up. So if I'm lying on my left side and on the floor and petting the dog or something, then when I go to get up, it's just terrible pain. Or in the morning, I wake up if I sleep wrong, that kind of stuff. So I ended up having to sleep. The one thing that they did tell me was I always have to sleep on my side or my back. I can't sleep on my stomach or my neck having been in that stomach position. Unless I want to suffocate, then I can sleep on my stomach. I don't have one of those holes. Do you have a table with one of those holes?
It has a face cradle.
Ooh, is that what that's called? Okay, can one see the floor, or is it just like a?
Yeah, you can see the floor. So,
okay.
Chiropractors and physical therapists usually have a slightly different table. If they have a table at all, a lot of PTs don't. But anyways, their tables, it's like a hole in the table.
Mm-hmm.
So a massage table, you typically use a face cradle. So there's the table, and then at the end is inserted a face cradle.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot nicer. You don't smush your face as much.
Gotcha.
It keeps your neck in a nice neutral position.
Nice. I like that.
You sound like a mess.
Yeah. Well, it's not that bad if I'm moving around, but yeah, if I any long dormant period or any weird position, then I'm in a mess. So, do you think I would be a person who should go see a massage therapist at this point?
You sound pretty typical of somebody that comes in that's never had work done before. that comes in, and they're usually pretty nervous because they don't know what to expect.
Oh, yeah.
And you also sound like that same person that waits until you're in so much pain that you're kind of forced by a significant other to go.
Yeah. See, and I think my number one, my other is not all that significant. So, yeah, I don't think she could sway me at all because, well, you've met her. She's a very passive, timid entity, barely registers on my radar. So,
I don't believe you.
No, probably not. But yeah, I think, I have been thinking about it as, especially as I've been losing weight and getting in better shape. I'm thinking, okay, now I can't use the I'm too fat to have a stranger touch me.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure, let's do that.
So people think that, like, I have to get naked and I have to get on this massage table and they're going to see me. It's not true. Nobody sees you while you're naked. I don't want to see all my clients naked. You're covered. You're covered. Only the area that's being worked is uncovered. And I can't speak for other therapists, but when I'm working on somebody, I kind of forget who they are because I'm focused on their shoulder. I'm focused on their neck. I'm focused on their foot, whatever I'm currently working on.
Sure, I'm just the target at that point. I'm not a person. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I want to be that.
I hate to say it that way, but it's kind of true. Like, you're no longer a person. Like, I'm just working on the meat suit. I'm not working on you.
Yeah, meat suit. That's really what I want to be. I want to be like the living personification of Lady Gaga's costume.
Yes. I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I
just want to be her shoes.
That would be amazing.
Big shoes covered in meat. That just sounds awesome.
Nice. Well, you are making me feel more comfortable about this whole possibility. Seriously. Yeah, I've never had a massage. I go to the doctor if something is on fire. That's about it, really.
Yeah. I do think that a lot of people are hesitant because they're nervous about their own body, and it just shouldn't stop you. It just shouldn't. Well, we don't all look like 6-foot supermodels with, rock hard abs. We're human. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has goofy stuff wrong with them.
Well, I mean, I was to the point of self-loathing that even going in for like a license photo would incur the same sort of dread that a massage would. So I think I wouldn't want to blame the massage potential. But more importantly, you mentioned you wanted to talk about drinking. I don't mean to move on too quickly. And actually, I will circle back to the massage thing at the end, and not in a bad way. But I will want you to have the opportunity to promote your webpage. Drinking-wise, for me, I am a casual drinker. I'll drink a couple times a week. I did find, though, in the last 6 months or so, that I'm starting to tailor my recreational beverages based on the specific impact they have on me. So, for example, back before I started losing weight, I would have a Black Russian, just vodka and Kahlua, and that would spur productivity for me. So I would be like, ooh, or creativity. It wouldn't bring me down or anything weird like that. I could write. I could do something like this. Then I switched to vodka and Crystal Light because of the sugar. Does the exact same thing for me. But if I want to relax, I'll go for a beer like a good ale or a German lager or a nice stout or something like that. So,
question: Do you hand make your Kahlua or do you buy your Kahlua?
I didn't know.
Or are you completely off Kahlua now?
I am totally off Kahlua because of the sugar. But I've never heard of anyone making Kahlua, so I was a store-bought Kahlua man.
Oh, I make Kahlua.
I didn't know.
It's delicious.
How can you do that?
It's super easy.
Is it in a bathtub?
No, I don't make a huge batch of it. Like, I'm not cooking meth. What are you talking about? I'm making a few bottles of Kahlua.
But you do put on a big yellow suit with an oxygen tank.
Well, I mean, I only get that out for Matt, but.
Aw, that's so sweet. I love it that you guys still have role playing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep it alive.
Is he your little Pinkman? Deep cut.
Well,
no, but do go on.
In a fedora, so.
Yeah. Nice.
Is that what he wears? I can't even remember. I haven't seen Breaking Bad in so long.
I think he just wore a skull cap, Jesse Pinkman. Oh, you're talking about Walter White.
Yeah, Walter White, which is hilarious. So Matt has
a pork pie hat. I think it's called a pork pie hat.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Matt has a cousin named Walter White. And It didn't click for me until like very recently because he works with him. And like it finally clicked and I was like, wait a second, where do I know that name?
That's awesome. But where were we? Oh, okay. So your bathtub Kahlua.
The bathtub Kahlua.
So how do you make?
Coffee, vodka, sugar, stovetop.
I wonder if it could be made with Splenda.
Probably. See, maybe you could have your Kahlua back. You could
just
making it with your own sugar.
I want that. Yeah, big time. And I'm sure it was not the sugar that put me in a manic productive state. I think it was more likely the booze.
Probably.
I guess I'll find out. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear how it goes. Does Christy let you use the kitchen or?
She does.
Not allowed in there? Okay.
No, she has no problem. It's not really been an issue. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I actually did something in there other than the dishes, and made coffee, maybe we'd go a few rounds. I don't know. Do you have any drinks that you use for specific functions, like being creative or relaxing?
All of them. I also just realized that these headphones, because I'm dummy, are connected to the computer and not my phone, because I went outside and it got all staticky.
Yes.
We'll have to touch on my inability to use technology at some point in this call.
Oh, I'd love it. Let's jump to that now because it's perfect. I will leave in all that staticky stuff because it did sound like you were getting outside the range of your Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with technology, and it's kind of complicated. So I am fearless when it comes to like do-it-yourself projects. I don't care what it is, if it's plumbing work, if it's carpentry, if it's painting. I don't care what it is. I will build a dresser if I have the wood and I feel like I need to build a dresser. DIY does not scare me, but technology, like no matter how well I try to read instructions or figure out what something means, it's all Latin. It's all garbage. It means nothing to me.
Yeah, and I've known a lot of people like that. I have a penchant for explaining technological items and theories to non-technology savvy people. It's kind of been my wheelhouse and my niche wherever I've worked. Is there anything you wish to know about technology, Katie? This could be like an offshoot of my Let Dan Tell You How to Live Your Life While He Drinks Wine series.
Oh God, it could be. You know what? I don't know if you could help me. Like when I took the MacBook to the You Break I Fix place, they could have told me it needed an oil change and it'd be fine, and I would have paid them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's mostly. Well, here's the thing. So I started, many years ago when I started in support of technology, I would have coworkers who would say, "Oh, this person's so stupid. They called me up and they thought that the CD-ROM tray was a drink holder. That old kind of trope." And I would respond, and it would be internal support at the bank where I worked, and I would say to them, "That may be, but they know. I mean, I know that specific person, Mary, is amazing at mortgage lending, and she knows everything there is to know about mortgages and would blow you away if you went in and asked her to help you get a mortgage with how helpful she would be." And they're like, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, see, so it's not about intelligence, it's about interest. She has zero interest in learning about this PC other than it has to work for her to get her job done."
And I guess that's where my frustration comes in. I have the interest, but I just don't have the ability. And it drives me crazy because I can usually, either with or without research, I can usually pick up a new skill pretty fast. And technology just kicks my ass every time.
Yeah. Well, maybe you need a walkthrough. Like if I were to sometime remotely connect, or you remotely connect with me and you say, "Okay, show me how to do a thing," I might be able to show you how to do that thing. And then I could record a video of it and say, here's the thing that you can refer back to. Because that's really where the strength for me of YouTube is. I mean, I use YouTube for primarily two things. One, and by the way, YouTube, sure, there's YouTube, but there's Khan Academy. There's many other sources of education via online media. I'm just picking YouTube for the moment. But one is, ever since my first Roku that supported YouTube, I'll throw up a, people are amazing video, or dumb things people do on the job, or you had one job, or whatever video it is, in the house when we can't agree on something to watch, but we all kind of want to watch something. And then we go our various ways and watch our own thing. But the other is learning. So, for example, to put up this podcast, I had to learn everything about how to put up a podcast. So I did read a lot. I'm an avid reader, but I also, it might be like 10:30 at night. And I thought, what? I can kill an hour on YouTube learning what I need to know about doing this. And that kind of speaks back to, your do-it-yourself project type stuff. But I learned all the technical stuff I needed to know from YouTube as well. Just like I learned how to rebuild my carburetor for my motorcycle, and I'm not a mechanic. But I watched enough of the videos. Well, you have to do it. And so I took I way over research. So I'll take copious notes and say, okay, step 1, unscrew the side pan, whatever. And by the end, I've basically got a manual on how to do the stuff. But, I saved whatever, $60, doing that. And I had a good time. And now I walk away with a skill and a document, that I can reuse the next time I need to rebuild my carburetor, something like that. But I think you could do it, Katie. You're smart. I have met you in person. I know how smart you are.
I think maybe I just have a smart face or a smart ass face, one of the two.
Definitely the latter, but probably the former.
So I managed to hook up the LAN, LAN in the house.
Sure.
Because the previous owner at this new house had run it to all the rooms, so there was outlets, ports, whatever they're called, in every room.
RJ45
but we needed,
jacks.
I think Mark called it a patch bay.
Sure, patch panel.
Patch panel, whatever, bay panel, doesn't matter. So it took me
bay.
it took me 45 minutes to figure out where to click in all the little tiny little cables,
sure,
to make it all work. But I was able to get through something like that, and I think that it's because it's hardware. It's something I can actually touch and work with, and computers especially. I can't wrap my brain around it because I can't touch it.
Yeah, and I think that the LAN panel is a great metaphor for the concept of visualization. So I think one of the hardest things that people have to deal with when working with a PC or a Mac or computer is visualizing the pathway that the information is taking. And if you can't physically reach out and touch it, you have to have a metaphor in which to equate what is, what your goal is to what your input is to make it all make sense to you. So that's kind of how I describe, or that's my tool set when I describe technology to someone. They're useful constructs, and then all of a sudden you can have this stuff in the visual part of your mind instead of just the sort of esoteric prose portion of your mind.
I don't know. I think you guys are just wizards. I think that IT professionals they should get a new moniker. They should just be called wizards.
Yeah. Well, they would like you to think so. Many of them. It's definitely a field where they do, for the most part, earn their money, because a lot of people are either too bored or too busy otherwise to want to delve into that. It's an admirable profession, to be sure.
I didn't realize it wasn't IT was not a 9 to 5 until I met my first friend that was an IT professional, Mark, who worked with you, I think, back in the day at the college.
Sure, Big C.
Yeah, and watching the crazy hours that he would work, and we wouldn't see him for days and days because he'd be they'd be rolling out something new, and the rollout went wrong, and he was just fixing things, or something would go down, and he'd be up at 3 a.m. trying to fix something.
Yep.
I had no idea. I thought it was just like you come in for your shift and you answer the phone call when I ask you why my cup holder keeps trying to like suck back into the computer.
Right. Yeah, and it depends on what one does. Like, I haven't worked true IT in many years, so what I do now is a much more scheduled activity with software testing. But we do work closely with the support folks, and they are a 24/7 group, and we act to help them if they have what we call tier 3 issues that they need a little more advanced knowledge in. But yeah, those guys, I mean, back when I worked at the bank, this was even before cell phones. I had a pager, and if that thing went off at 2:30, I was up and calling someone and in the car and headed to a distant location or whatever. Same thing when I worked for the financial services, a big financial services Fortune 500 company where you just worked. That's what you did, because if this stuff went down, literally thousands of people's bank accounts would be frozen. And you can't have that. Yeah. And, the same is true in any industry, the health industry or warehouse, production, manufacturing, anything. It's such a one-to-many relationship between the IT professional and the amount of shit that can blow up if they're not on top of it. So it's an admirable work ethic. It can take years off your life if you don't get control of it and maybe switch into something a little less intensive as you get older. But it can be super fun because your brain is always pegged at 11. It's like, what? I got to know. I got to do this thing. And then, as my wife will no doubt tell you if she hasn't already, those years of me arriving home in that mental state. And she would be like, yeah, I got this story to tell you about Juliana, at like 5 years old. She did this thing. And I'd be like, what's the point? What's the end game? What happened at the end of the story? Did she end up falling? And did she cut herself? Did you take her to the hospital? And she'd be like, Jesus, just settle down, man. I just wanted to tell you how this thing went, so there's a downside to it. There's a delicate balance.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if that's how Christy is feeling right now at her current job, because when I was there with her, I felt like I came home like that every day.
No, I think she's just better at it. So she's got it all going on. Good. I was so stressed leaving there. I was just it was like, oh my God, is this claim going the right way? Is this happening the right way? Did I call that person back? Oh yeah, I did. Okay. Just it was so stressful trying to make sure everybody was taken care of. Yeah. In all seriousness, I think I'm not going to speak for her, but I do know that her work ethic and her just ethos in general is that she wants people to not have been not have been harmed by anything she did or forgot to do, but B, get the best solution for them in order to make their lives better. So for that, she'll stay late to make sure that other customer service stuff also gets done, because if there's a call not returned or a question not submitted, that just adds another day to that person's stress. Mm-hmm. And that's true, clearly out in any profession where an answer is required to get back. So that's why working with people of a like-minded nature like that is so much fun. I've worked at places where nobody gave a shit about getting that answer back to someone, and then being called a brown noser and you should really not care so much about the customer, something like that. I just can't wrap my mind around that. I can't wrap my meat suit mind around that, Katie.
Meat suit.
Yeah, I know. It always comes back to the meat suit. It should. There's an old song I many years ago in the 80s.
About meat suit?
Yeah, there was one called Meat Suit by a band called Camel Toe, which by the way, when I heard that name, I didn't even know what that meant. Oh. So I was that young, but I went I strapped the VHS video recorder over my shoulder and went and recorded their band at a bar called OK's Corral in Madison back in the day that used to have a lot of alternative
Isn't that where
bands.
where Billy the Kid and Doc Holliday got killed? Or am I thinking of an old Western movie?
You are? A different spelling though. I think OK's Corral, the bar, had some Z's in there somewhere.
Some Z's?
Yeah. But the Corral, I think it was a Doc Holliday and that guy, that Wyatt Earp, right?
Yeah. So maybe not Billy the Kid, Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
Yeah. One of my favorite Star Trek, the original series episodes. Yeah, that's how I found out about that. But I digress. Are you a Star Trek fan, Katie?
No.
No. I knew it'd be no by the way you said.
But you can't be a fan of something that you've never seen.
That's true. Although I am a huge fan of the happy ending, and I've never. Well, I take that back. I might have seen them, and just not thought in English or at all while seeing them. So yeah, I think you're right. You probably can't. Well, you can be you can proclaim yourself a fan, but you can't be a true fan if you haven't really witnessed the thing. We're going deep,
right? I mean, like that makes sense. Though. Like, I feel like maybe at some point I've seen some of the old Star Trek that had William Shatner in it.
Yeah,
I'm sure I have.
You must have in college or something. Although you might have been so other-minded, you might not have noticed it. You might have thought you were just hallucinating.
Can we flip over to Star Wars? I mean, I know that they're totally separate entities, but I did not see Star Wars until after Matt and I were dating, and I was an adult, and he found out that I had never seen any of them, and he made me watch them all back to back in one weekend.
And see, to me, that's not surprising, nor is it a bad thing, because in the old days, they're the Star Trek folks, and then 10 years later when Star Wars came out, 10 years-ish, then there were sort of two camps. There'd be somebody going, I'm Star Trek. Star Wars is just bullshit.
70s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other way around.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I don't care. I like them both. I don't want to say equally. I think Star Wars is a little less of the human story, but then again, Star Trek has so many more hours of material that they could afford to, get into the complexities of, racial relations, gender roles, everything you can talk about, because they had an interest in writing about that. Yeah. And they would put it in the future context to be able to better, to make it a more palatable message for people who weren't hung up on their own preconceptions, I think. So
makes sense. I hear you.
Yeah. Like in the original series, there's a planet called Charon, and on it, half the people have their faces are bifurcated color-wise. So some of them are all black on the right and all white on the left. And the other folks are all white on the right and all black on the left of their face. And those people hate each other. And of course, the crew is like, well, what are you talking about? You look the same. And the people are offended. They're like, no, I'm black on the right, not on the left. And so, I mean, it's that whole kind of like, oh, yeah. But it makes people go, oh, yeah, when their preconceptions are all white or all black based or whatever. So, anywho, so science fiction is good, can be great, or it can just be a bunch of laser beams and explosions.
I do like laser beams and pew pew noises.
I do too. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, that's good. What's your best pew pew noise?
Well, I can't do it.
I didn't mean to show you up.
You can't put me on the spot.
Okay.
This isn't on the spot with Dan.
No, it nor should it be. No. Now, on the spot, that brings us back to massage. So let's talk cleanup.
Well, I do have to do a lot of laundry every day, which gets real old since I hate doing laundry.
Do you have hot towels?
I do, because especially for clients that are like super tense, it really helps to start out with a hot towel. It kind of relaxes the tissues, and then I can put my elbow in there.
Nice.
So if we're coming back to massage, what's one of the other frustrating things in the profession is, so you're that person, you've never had a massage, you've got this back pain, and you go to a spa or you go to a chain and you have a crappy experience.
Yeah.
You have a therapist that you tell them, like my left shoulder goes numb, I can't lay on that side, and they don't touch that shoulder.
Wow.
Like they're with you for an hour and they don't touch the area that you said hurt. Or you schedule a deep tissue and you have a therapist that maybe that's not their thing, but they were the one with a free hour, so they're who you get booked with, and you don't get deep tissue. You get like a really light, fluffy massage, or vice versa. I hate deep tissue. So when I go in, I don't want a therapist that's just going to dig into my muscles. It hurts.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I wouldn't like that either.
So that's frustrating. Like a lot of people, when they go and they have that first experience, and if it's not good, they never try it again. Like if you got one bad haircut, would you never get your haircut again and just be shaggy the rest of your life? No, like you'd try somebody else.
Yeah, I might try it myself, but I don't think that would be. It's a little harder with the massage unless you have a wall of knobs. To bring back the knob comment. Of course, that was pre-recording. Let's just say we talked about knobs.
We did. Well, that mixer has like 87 knobs on it, and I can't believe he left me by myself to try to hook that up.
Yeah, but you know what? Now I want to just lie prone on your mixer and writhe around and let it massage me.
All the knobs?
Yeah. It might
There's
work.
so many knobs and buttons on there. When he has the whole studio turned on, it just looks like a spaceship.
Oh, sure. And that would be the attraction for me. That's probably why I got into audio mixing many years ago, was for all the knobs and the lights that make the knobs happen and the sliders. Oh, yeah. Take off that thing.
I don't understand what any of it does.
But you bring up a very interesting point, Katie, about the bad single experience with a massage, because not having thought this through, I do know that if I'm getting a back rub for my wife and I say, hey, it really aches in this one spot. Now, and she rubs it momentarily and then she moves on to maybe an easier location like my shoulder or something. And I know that she's rubbing me to be nice, and it actually feels good, but I really wish she were down in that spot. I mean, it certainly, I'm a big believer that if somebody is working for you and you're paying them to give you a massage, that they should concentrate on what you're there for. Because I know even when I rub myself where my back hurts, it does have a positive impact for, I don't know how long, an hour, 2 hours, I don't know. But is there a dog near you?
There is. That's Ruby.
Hello, Ruby.
She groans quite a bit.
Aw, that's nice.
She just came up to cuddle.
Sure.
And she doesn't cuddle very often. She normally just eats things that she's not supposed to.
It's easiest to get them to come up to you to cuddle when you're when you're seemingly paying attention to something else. So, which is what you're doing now, just to let you know. Okay. But yeah, so, I mean, I guess a piece of advice for a potential massage customer is to just be communicative with your massage. And I'm sorry, is it a therapist or is it a masseuse, or how do you describe?
Massage therapist.
Okay. So just be in full communication and convey your wants and needs and make sure you find someone who can do that.
Communication is super important. And so I tend to be a really quiet therapist, because if you're coming in to zone out and you just want to relax, like you don't want to make small talk with me. Like you just want to have an hour of quiet time.
Right. Yeah. It's totally unlike a haircut.
That can really ruin somebody's session too. Like if you have a therapist that just won't shut up. But therapeutic work, like if you were going in to have that left shoulder looked at, like you've got to stay in communication with your therapist. If they're half an inch off of where you feel the pain, tell them. You can't be scared to let them know, like, it's like it feels like it's coming from a little further left.
Yeah, that sounds like great advice. Definitely.
Pressure too. Like if you have a therapist that's just digging in there and you're dying, like tell them to back off.
Yeah, I had to tell that to my daughter once because she wanted everybody to get on the floor and have back rubs, which basically meant this was when she was little. It basically meant she would rub us for 15 to 20 seconds, and then we would have to rub her, until bedtime. So it was a good strategy, but that 15 or 20 seconds felt like, I was being stabbed to death. And then finally, when she got older, I said, honey, you gotta back off. Or she would rub me a little bit, or Christy, and then she would stick her pointy chin like way up and under some sort of tendon.
Ow.
And yeah, it was bad. But that was me not being communicative. It was, not wanting to make her cry. But I wouldn't care about making my massage therapist cry because I know that they would expect proper communication from me.
Yeah. It really is helpful. The last thing I want to hear is that, like, from a client that is coming back, it was they weren't happy because they wanted a little bit more time in a certain area, or they just needed a little bit more, a little less pressure. Like, I work really hard and I pay attention to detail because I want to make sure that every person leaves feeling awesome, and I want them to feel good for days. I don't want them to feel like they got hit by a truck the next day.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. And I think some people might think that it might be the massage therapist's responsibility to somehow be empathic to the point of almost telepathic and going, well, she should have known I was sore over here. It's like, no, I think there's a lot of myth about, like, can you feel the tense spots? I don't know if you can, or if that person is just ripped, or how that works.
Oh, no, for sure. You can, once you're a therapist for a while, your hands really, they get that tactile. So yes, your hands do get in tune where you can feel a lot more than the average person. Some of it's just paying attention, and some of it is strengthening those nerve pathways in your own hands between, in your nervous system as a therapist. You just pick up more.
Sure.
So for sure, yeah, you can, somebody says their shoulder hurts. Well, there's a lot of muscles in the shoulder. So you're going to start palpating or like feeling around and figuring out where it's coming from. If you're just blindly working on them, maybe you'll hit it, maybe you won't. But it takes a lot of focus to figure out where is it.
Yeah.
Like you feel it here, but is it that muscle or is it something else pulling that bone out of place?
Now, do you visualize the medical model with the skin stripped off and all the muscles there? Do you see that in your mind, or do you have a different, only, which is fine, but is it like only through the tactile senses that these muscles?
No, it's both.
Okay.
It's both. It has to be both because the anatomical models they're approximations. They're not, they're not 100% accurate. Everybody's going to be just a little tiny bit different in placement and angle. So it's not like, I can find your sixth vertebrae and I can, measure down 2 inches and, that's where that muscle attachment is. Like, it's going to be somewhere in that area, but it's not going to be the same on you as it is on my other client.
Yeah. Now, I think mine would probably be identical to The Rock.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not Dwayne Johnson, but more the Nick Cage movie where it's actually Alcatraz. I'm like an Alcatraz body.
Like the pet rock from like the 70s.
Oh yeah, or maybe the Chia Pet with the little Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. No, I guess that was actual like shrubbery coming out of that thing, wasn't it? Like some kind of vines. I always get that and the Play-Doh machines mixed up.
No, Chia Pet. I thought it was like chia seeds, and it grew like little.
Oh, is chia a thing? Like, is that the plant? Is that where that comes from?
I always thought it was. Maybe it's not.
It could be. I wouldn't know. I think you're right, though. It was a seed of some kind. Maybe there's a chia seed. I'd Google it, but I think I'd end up with a little plant that has. You know what they should have? They should have a chia sea, where it's the wig grows out over the face.
Chia's. It's got to be that that superfood chia that like everybody's been eating the last 5 years. But before that, I think it was just a seed that you put in the little Bob Ross head that grew an afro.
Yeah. You don't like the chia sea idea, though.
Oh, I totally missed it.
Yeah. What have a Sia the singer. but a chia, so that what grows out is the reverse wig over the face.
Oh, I love that idea. You just created a new chia pet.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then plus you could take your chia pet out in public without it being harassed or shamed. Anyway, yeah.
Shaming.
This must mean we're approaching the end rapidly. Yeah.
Well, if we're talking about shaming, I have currently 3 sets of eyes just watching me talk to myself in the basement.
Okay, I know about the dog. What else is watching you?
So there's 2 dogs.
Oh, okay.
And then we have 2 cats. One of the cats we never see. Like she's just like a tiny black panther, and she like slinks around the house.
Nice.
And doesn't ever let anybody touch her. But the other one's pretty cool. He's a big fat tomcat.
So 2 dogs and 2 cats.
Correct.
Wow.
I would have more, but I don't think Matt will let me.
No. Well, at some point, I mean, he already knows he is not enough. I mean, you've made that perfectly clear. So I don't think he should really have much to complain about if you get more pets, because you can say, clearly now these pets plus you are not enough. Katie, have so much love to give that I need something else.
All of them.
Yeah.
I need all of the animals. Well, I mean, really, I think it's more capitalist at this point. I need to get a fish and a bird, and then I'm pretty sure I can charge admission to my house.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if they're interesting fish. All birds are interesting. And the amount of, fecal matter they generate is pretty much proportional to their size. So
yeah, I mean, isn't that impressive? Like in one day, they create enough poop that weighs the same amount as them.
Really? I didn't know that.
I have no idea if that's true, but I just know that birds seem to poop quite a bit.
I know that's true in support groups on Taco Tuesday.
Are there support groups?
Technical support. So those groups often will bring in large bags of Taco Bell on Tuesdays, and then they pay each other and they consume, and then the total weight of their excrement equals the total weight of the support staff.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, but it's okay because, people have been served well during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That comment was not going out to anyone specifically. If you think you're a target of that comment, you're wrong, especially if you know me and you think I'm talking directly to you. Okay.
Oh, he's definitely talking directly to you. Whoever you are, you know who you are.
Yes, the horde. The horde of taco and burrito consuming support staff.
Well,
luckily they're not listening to me anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Aside from the birds that won't stop pooping, back to the dogs. I hear that you guys just adopted a new pup.
We did. She's very cool. Her name is Ella, and she's a poodle. We don't know if she's mixed with anything else because she was a runaway. And so we got her at Maddock, which is the Milwaukee area runaway dog shelter.
Yeah, that's where Chief came from.
Oh, great. Yeah. And, she was our third try because the owners kept coming back right before we picked up the dog we were supposed to get, which was good, good for the dog. But yeah, we got her and she's very clingy. She loves Christy. She's really gotten up. She gets along fine with Charlie, our older rescue, but she's still having the occasional accident in the house. But today she actually went to the door and barked and literally jumped in the air up and down. I let her out and she did her business, the big business. So this was a milestone. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, mine just perked up. They were like, "What would we do?
Ooh, were we good? Are we deserving of a treat?"
No, they're never good. They're always naughty.
Are you? I mean, even when I'm out in public, it's hard for me to say the word treat out loud without spelling it, or the word outside. If I'm talking to someone, man, it's raining, OUT. I'm in line at Starbucks, and they're like, out. I meant out because I don't want to light up some dog, even though there's none there.
No, so I'm a really spoiled dog mom, and these guys are really spoiled. We have a dog door.
Whoa.
It is the greatest thing in the whole world.
Nice.
And we've got a big fenced-in backyard, so they just go in and out as they please.
That is impressive.
And yeah. It's magical. I still, though, whenever I walk to like the back door, like they get crazy excited, like, oh my God, we get to go outside. It's like your door is 10 feet away.
Is it new? Have you always had one, like at the old house? Did you have one?
We didn't have one at the old house, but we've been here almost a year.
Okay.
So yeah. They should be by now, but
well, it's hard to let go of the old
they're
loves.
Used to the dog door, but yeah, they still, anytime I walk to the back door, they get crazy excited.
Yeah, I love having dogs. Ella is now sleeping with us, and she is great. Charlie's great, but he sleeps with Lila. So we kind of divvy up the dogs a little bit. We're actually going to get a king-size bed just so we have a little bit more room for the dogs.
We've been talking about that too, because Chief and Ruby take up most of the bed.
Yeah, and we're researching the foam mattresses that are advertised on various podcasts and against the mattress store that you go into and there's no employees, but there's some dude looking through 1,000 cameras at you. And
that's creepy.
Yeah, it is, but it's kind of cool that there's no one there to hassle you.
Can we talk about a camera conspiracy stuff real quick?
Sure.
So I'm bad at technology. I don't understand how anything works. I turn on my computer, and if I'm lucky, it turns on, and I use it, and everything's okay. Mm-hmm. So Matt bought a camera for our house. It hooks up to it connects to our Wi-Fi, and he can use the app on his phone to look through this camera. So that's neat, right? But it came from China. So we keep joking about China's version of NSA watching us through this camera.
Right.
Or because it's hooked up through our Wi-Fi, our NSA watching us through this camera.
Sure.
But we also, a year ago, we bought a Nest. And with the Nest, you got a free little Google Home thing, the thing that you're supposed to be able to, talk to Google.
Sure.
Tell it to do things. Matt won't let me take it out of the box.
Okay. I'm not laughing at Matt. I'm laughing at the scenario.
He won't let me take it out of the box because he read something about people listening in on there.
Oh, you're breaking up. I think you might be wandering too far, Katie.
I've wandered. I'm sorry.
Get the hell back there. Get back there.
I'm going back. I'm going back. I had to go get the box because I was talking about the box, and now I'm looking at the box. Anyway, he won't let me hook it up because I don't know what he's afraid of. I don't know.
I got to tell you, I am holding in my hand, dramatic pause, an IP camera that I got from China and had it hooked up to watch the dogs. And I had it hooked up for quite a while. It takes an SD card, a micro SD card, if I want to record the video and then, access it later. Otherwise, I can just access it live. And it kind of freaked out my daughters because they're like, who's looking at us through this thing? And I said, well, nobody. It's only when we want to look at the dogs. So I set the schedule to record only when nobody's home. And then occasionally I'd play back the videos and, hey, wasn't that cute when the dogs were playing with the tug toy or whatever? Well, recently I got home and my daughter said, hey, the camera just started moving around, looking around. Were you connected? I'm like, no, I haven't connected to that thing for weeks. And then, so I thought, well, maybe it had disconnected from Wi-Fi and it has a restart procedure where it looks in all directions and up and down. Yeah. Well, maybe that's just what it was. And then I came home a couple days later and it was not in the home position. So when it goes through that procedure, it looks left, right, up, down, and then it returns to its prior programmed position. And this was all the way to the right. I'm like, you know what? I'm unplugging this damn thing. So, yeah, I mean, just because I know things about technology doesn't mean I trust everything. I personally would trust Google more than this thing. Now, that might be me being complacent. I have all of my show notes in my Google Drive. That way I can edit and make, jot down thoughts on my phone, on any PC on the planet. I do use dual factor authentication and all of that. But nonetheless, there's no stopping some rogue employee of any company from, the whole with great power goes great responsibility thing of, misusing their power.
Yeah, and I guess like complacency. I am complacent.
And that's okay. I mean, for the most part, I think we have to be complacent.
I feel like we shouldn't be. Like some little part of me is like, you read that book. It was like 1984, whatever the scary book was with Big Brother and like all that crazy.
That's the one. That's one of the many.
But I just want to be able to be in my bed drinking wine and tell my Google thing to turn up the thermostat because I'm cold.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and we use Echo, Alexa, for our Spotify, and we don't control any of the home stuff. If we did that, I would switch to Google because I prefer the, what I've read about the home control. But yeah, I want that luxury too. I mean, there is the little mute button on Alexa, which turns it into a red ring. It looks like the old Xbox red ring of death. And then it's not listening, but how often do I use that? Once a year?
When they unsoldered themselves and it would turn red? Is that what that was?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's always convenience versus security. That's the teeter-totter. So once, one goes up, the other comes down. That's all there is to it. And I prefer lying in bed, having that wine and saying, turn my room into a disco and have it be a disco. That would be awesome.
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe because my life is boring. Like if the NSA was watching me, they'd fall asleep.
Yeah. I mean, my dream is that the NSA watches me and they masturbate the entire time. And then I'm like, you know what? Now I'm somebody now. So I don't think I'm going to set that up. I'm probably not going to plug this camera back in and publish it to the NSA as a viable recreational activity. But it's in there. It's an option if we want that to happen. And by we, I mean no one on this planet. All right. So was this good for you?
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. What could we have done better?
Well, I guess it's because I've never been on a podcast before, so I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
So maybe it was okay, or maybe it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely one of those two.
Definitely one of them.
Yeah, it all comes down to the magic of editing and producing because, I'm biased that way because it's my next step.
Well, I was able to wander around the house, drink 3 ciders, and cuddle with the dog all during our conversation.
Perfect. So it's basically a normal night just with me in your ear holes at the same time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to putting this up on Monday. And it was good. I think the sound, just to go geek a little bit, I think it'll be fine. It sounds good in my headphones, which means it will sound better after it's run through all the knobs and the lights.
Just make sure you turn the knobs the right way. Don't turn the wrong knob.
Oh, I know.
Don't make the knobs angry. Because when they get angry, then your microphone stops working or your headphones stop working.
I've heard that.
When is Mark going to be on your show? Because I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it.
He has never reached out to me to be on the show. Yeah, he could come on. He could talk about golf. The sport. I think he does that.
He does.
He could talk about technology. He could get into it because he can be kind of a feisty guy. He's got a little attitude. I think he'd be good. Be good to get him on.
I'm sure it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure to send him a request and tell him that, Katie did it, plus Ian did it, plus Ashley did it. So now there are 3 people he directly knows who have done it. Actually, he's met Christy, I think, or talked to her on the phone. That is to say.
I still haven't listened to you and Christy, so I got to put that on my list.
Yeah, do it up. You could. I promise you can drink cider while you listen to that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then buy a big cake and have it nearby.
Oh, you guys are going to talk about food the whole time, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to eat some cake and drink while I listen to that one.
Nice. All right. Well, hey, thank you very much. This was a blast. Yeah, we hit we're at 112 right now. So once we edit out the sound gibberishness, we'll be probably sitting at a solid hour.
Perfect. And then you can chop it up.
That's right. And do a little max headroom with it. Although I would love you at some point to do the pew, pew, pew thing, because then I can put that at the teaser at the beginning. Maybe me going pew, 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 and you going
pew, pew, pew.
Nice. We've got it. You want me to play that back? Yeah.
No.
All right. I'll put some echo on it, some reverb. It'll be amazing.
It's going to be fine because we're not going to hit anything.
True. Yeah, because it's like stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And although I wonder if a stormtrooper. Okay, here's the teaser. It could be me saying, I wonder if a stormtrooper were to shoot at a red shirt in Star Trek, if the red shirt would still die. I don't know. That'll hook them. That'll bring people in.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, Katie.
You're very welcome. Thank you for helping me work through the sound issues.
You're welcome. Do you want to pimp anything? And because I have. Oh, and I'm sorry. Maybe that's a wrong verb in your trade. But I do know.
Well, I don't have any employees, so I'm pretty sure I can pimp things.
Perfect. And I know that Facebook.com/elbowgreasemassage, one word, is your Facebook page.
It is. It's mostly articles about different pain issues and funny memes, or at least memes that I think are funny.
Excellent.
And I usually post last-minute openings as well. But I am in De Pere, Wisconsin, so I don't know if you know anybody all the way up here.
I don't, but maybe, if you spread the word about the podcast up there, then they can listen to this and find out how cool you are and go to you and definitely not mention people in De Pere. Hear me now. Hear my words. If you want the best therapeutic massage, deep tissue or otherwise, preferably not deep tissue because it's not her thing.
Oh, no, I love deep tissue. That's what I do.
I thought you said you didn't like it. I thought you
No, I don't like it on me.
I gotcha.
I don't like receiving deep tissue. I like giving deep tissue.
There are plenty of things I like giving that I don't want all over me as well, and I totally respect that.
Yeah, you just got to respect those boundaries.
Exactly. So, let me start that over. De Pere people, if you want a great deep tissue massage or even a lighter massage, go to Katie, go to Elbow Grease Massage. Do not ask for a happy ending. It is not on the menu. It's not even worth discussing. But if you want to look through a hole, and I mean a hole in a table, that's the place to go. Right? Close?
Wow.
Yeah. That was for free.
Wow. You're really getting good at podcasting.
Thanks. All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
That was our chat. I hope you enjoyed it. I went a little crazy this week with the show notes and included a bunch of silly links to topics we discussed, so check those out in your podcast app. I also included a link to Katie's Facebook page, so if you live in the Green Bay, Wisconsin area or De Pere area, or perhaps are planning on traveling there for a football game this season, visit her page and schedule an appointment. That's facebook.com/elbowgreasemassage, one word, and do spell massage with an M-A, not an N-E. Oh, ye of little spelling prowess. Hey, even if you're not going to be in De Pere, Wisconsin or Green Bay, Wisconsin, or in that area, just visit the page anyway because Katie has fun articles there about pain management and perhaps unintentionally ambiguous memes, if one has a naughty mind to consider them that way, and I know you do because you're listening to my podcast. And a quick shout out to you fans and contributors, guests, my muses. I appreciate the comments that are coming in. I love them. They are my fuel. So drop me a line, even if you think it's a little tiny thing. It means a lot to me. So until next week, my deeplies, work hard, play hard. Go get a massage from a qualified and talented massage therapist. May all your happy endings be in private or with your partner, and not in the company of your massage therapist. You've got to have the presence of mind to know when to and when not to go in deep.
Pew pew pew. Pew pew pew. Pew pew pew.